The Percocet that you're on?
Yes, I am giving a full disclaimer tonight.
So, Chris, are you on any drugs tonight?
Oh, he's frozen. I think he lost his internet. Yep, he's gone.
He's got DDoSed.
Oh, there he's back.
I'm back again.
All right. So we are live. Full disclaimer to my cohorts and
this
the
is
audience.
the shit show.
It is a shit show. I burned myself pretty bad tonight with some boiling hot soup. So I did take a pain pill. So full disclaimer, I am somewhat under the influence of a pain pill. So I'm going to do my best to be articulate tonight. But if I fail you, I'm sorry.
So where's your brain at right now, man? Are you feeling weird?
No, I'm pretty good. Actually, what I found is when you're really in genuine pain and take pain medication, it basically just takes the edge off. It makes me a little less, I get a bit of fat tongue. but other than that, it pretty much just takes the edge off the pain. Yeah, there might be a little bit of that tonight. But I'm really excited for this. This is a topic that I have an immense amount of passion for. And I don't know if I'm right and I don't know if I'm wrong. But I have a theory. And every human being that I've told this theory to so far has said, that makes sense to me. And this is
every human being, even the dumb ones?
Say what?
Every human being, even the dumb ones?
Even the dumb ones. So literally anyone that I've told this to so far has gone, there might be something to that. And there's some early science right now that perhaps supports this idea. But like with all good science, it's very early stages. They haven't done a whole lot of studies yet. But it's a pretty fascinating kind of area. So tonight, what we're going to be talking about is this idea that I have where human beings are essentially analog entities. And the world that we've had up until about the last 30 years has been an analog world. And in the last 30 years, we've begun to live in a digital world. And it's my belief that as analog humans, our current wiring is not 100% mapped to the digital existence we're trying to live. And so the theory goes that in our brains, we're processing risk. As Chris,
the shit show.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
What's Chris drinking?
I don't know.
What the fuck is this?
I don't know. I can't see it.
God damn it! It's ale. Son of a bitch.
We're not an.
Well, what were you supposed to be drinking if it wasn't ale?
Well, the dissident. Typically the dissident is a. God damn it! It's fucking see-through. It's meant to be a bloody. I thought it was a stout, like a good finished stout in French oak, but it's. Son of a bitch! This was expensive as well, and I went through the fucking problem of opening up that stupid bloody. Waxed on top. All right.
So Chris is demonstrating an analog problem, right?
Bollocks.
You said it was one of those weeks, Chris.
You did.
Fuck it.
So here's my theory, because this kind of sets the tone for the whole discussion. The theory is that the human brain processes digital risk differently than it processes physical risk. And therefore, the inherent mechanisms of self-preservation and skepticism and that weird feeling that you get in your gut when that sketchy person is across the street, you don't have that feeling when you get a sketchy email or you see sketchy content on the internet. And so that's the idea, that I believe there's a fundamental disconnect between an analog human being and the digital existence we're trying to live.
Like that? I want to discuss it, but I'm not drinking this crap. I'll be back.
I love it.
All right. So what the hell? I'm the glue for this show today?
Apparently. Apparently today you're holding it together.
We're fucked. I'm not a glue guy. You're on drugs. Chris is, I don't know what the hell he's going on right now.
Hey, they're legit, they're prescribed, and they're being used responsibly.
No, I know, but you're still on drugs.
These things, they happen. I didn't mean to dump boiling hot soup all over myself. So I get, I sit down to have dinner. You and I were at the office until a reasonable, respectable time.
5:30 or something, yeah.
Something like that. And so anyways, I got to eat or I get yelled at because sometimes I forget to do that. I forget to eat. So going to have my dinner. I reheat my grandmother's recipe for homemade chicken soup. It's my favorite meal in the world. And I heat it up and it gets to, boiling hot. And so it's one of them deals where, you take a spoonful out and you blow on it and you blow on it and you sip it.
Yeah.
Well,
So no more hot stuff for you.
True story. I start thinking about tonight. I start thinking about the show, what I want, how I want to frame this conversation. And my ADD kicks into overdrive. I stop paying attention to this overly full bowl of soup. And next thing you know, it's burning a hole in me.
I have adrenaline shock today.
What? Dude, no.
Yeah.
No,
what
the hell is that?
I have 2 of them. Check it out.
Why? What is even in that?
300 milligrams of caffeine.
When we shoot people, that's what we use to clean the blood off the floor. Like, seriously, it dissolves blood. What the hell is it doing to you?
So for me, better to drink.
So for me, when I get shot, you don't even have to use any of that to clean the blood off the floor. You can just clean the blood off the floor. Yeah. See, I just made your job easier. You're welcome.
Oh, love you, bye. All right, okay. But now we got proper stuff.
All right, so proper stuff. Ryan gave us a long story about his drug problem.
Damn well I laughed. Now try again. Okay, there we go.
All right, and then so something about human beings, analog. So I've been on kind of a kick this week. I think maybe along these same lines, and maybe we'll be able to segue and tie this all together. But twice today, I found myself kind of getting pissed off about, just people going too damn fast. Being connected to everything. Kids now, I swear, and I love them. Ryan, you and I had a talk about this earlier this week. I love kids. I mean, I really do, but I think they're dumber than they were, because in terms of like social interaction, in terms of social skills, in terms of a lot of different things, because of all the electronics, because of all the things we're doing. I was just talking this morning to our chief operating officer at FR Secure, and she's getting a new dishwasher or a new washing machine and dryer. And I said, I suppose these things connect to the internet. And she's like, yeah. Like, why? Why the fuck do we need this?
So he can tell you when it's finished or when it's done and when it needs service. And so the people like me can phone it at 3 o'clock in the morning and start it up for shits and giggles.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
About it. Well, so Evan, you actually highlight a key point of my theory. So as an analog person, and we talked about this, how we're of the generation that can bridge the gap. We were born analog and grew up digital. We all know what a rotary phone is and we know how to operate it. We all know what it meant to not have caller ID or call waiting. We knew what it meant to go to somebody's house and they weren't home. And the best you could hope for, if they weren't there, was to leave a note on the door. Or maybe if somebody else was there, you tell them, hey, tell so-and-so I stopped by. And so you didn't have the always on. So for those of us that know what the slower life, and by the way, for those of you that don't know, life actually used to be slower. It really did.
We had more time. It's amazing. Time. All of these amazing gadgets that are meant to save us time have done an amazing job of eating all the spare time that we had.
Correct.
Yeah.
I think that's affecting us emotionally and in mental health and keyboard courage and all these things that have come from this digital realm that didn't exist in the analog realm.
So I want to go back to the kid thing. I would disagree. I would actually disagree that kids are dumber.
Socially.
Oh, that's a tough one. So here's the challenge on socially. they have way more social interactions than we do.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I look at my daughter. I mean, Mo is 16 going on 17. She has more social interactions with more people, both at school and also away from school. I think the focus is definitely different. I think when we had more social interactions, there was more. I took more time over it. We took more time over it. Whereas now it's more of a snapshot. You know, I'd go over to a friend's house and hang out with him for the day, and we do it on a regular basis. Whereas now, they are happy with, you know, Snapchatting somebody for 5 minutes every now and again and just keeping in contact that way. I do think, I mean, they definitely look at things completely different than we do. I mean, Ryan, you are definitely looking, you definitely are onto something, but I think part of it is they have adapted differently than we did to technology. We didn't just grow with technology, we made this shit up as we went along.
True.
Whereas a lot of the stuff they have has not necessarily been handed to them, but that is a lot of it. And I think honestly the parents are a lot to blame as well. I mean, look at our age on the parent side of it. Because I work in this field, I'm engaged with my daughter with the devices that she has. Whereas so many parents, you know, they'll take the device and they'll be like, "Oh, stop messing around. Here, look, have this device. Go play a game or 5 or 10."
Right.
And so,
But I would argue the kids are getting an incomplete experience. And here's what I mean by that. So COVID taught me that I like people in 3D better than I like them in 2D. For as much as I love talking to you on Zoom right now, Chris,
yeah,
I would much rather be there with you and Evan in the same room. I really would. And I guarantee you it would be a vastly different experience for us than we're having now. The memories we're forming now are great, but they're incomplete. They lack the nuance of being there, of size perception. On my screen, you guys are the same size, but in person, you're not.
right.
You
Look at how big I am now.
You sound different. I'm
Yeah.
getting a digital representation of your voice. This is not a true, accurate representation of how you really sound in person. It's
Well, and ever since the beginning of time, right? Human beings are social creatures.
there's that aspect as well.
We've always claned up. We've always created community. You know, it's rare for somebody to just be off on their own and live that way their entire life, right? We've always done that, and I think there's got to be some explanation for just the lack of everything now is it seems is based on the number of likes I get or the number of comments I get on something I put on social media. I mean, I watch my own daughter interact with TikTok and Instagram, and all those things are so fake. You don't really know the people that you're communicating with, many of them, whereas we used to have these face-to-face conversations and the relationships seem a lot deeper. I mean, do you guys see that same sort of thing happening?
Yeah.
Well, and I think this is part of digital versus analog. So, the kids, while they're interacting, to Chris's point, on Snapchat in these 5-minute interactions, 5-minute interactions don't make life memories. These instantaneous snapshots of now does not form the same type of life memory of experience that being there and doing does.
So then again, is that from our perspective? Or again, think about kids. That's our perspective, because we grew up using almost all of our senses that were available to us at all times. Whereas now, when you think about it, the conversations that we have with kids in various different areas are potentially only using maybe 1 or 2 senses at a time. To your point, it's a very different experience. You and I in the person room, we have the ability to use much more of our available senses. Whereas kids, I wonder if there's also an argument to say, look, they're not using them, which doesn't make them any worse. They're just the ones that they are using maybe honed in more effectively. I was actually looking something up before we talked about this, about the plasticsearch capabilities of the brain, the neuroscience side of it, about how our brains are different than the kids of today. because the way we learn, the way we absorb the information is vastly different than the ways they absorb information. But that, I think they would argue that they are actually having a better time because they're able to absorb much more. Think about when we wanted to learn something. We wanted to learn about beer making, okay? We had to go to the library, to go to the encyclopedia, to take out 6 books, find out that 4 of them were crap, and do everything else. With kids today, 30 seconds later, they're reading from amazing experts online about how things happen and do it. So the availability of data, I would argue, is much greater. Their ability to absorb it is probably slightly better than ours. And our judgment of their experience is, well, no, because you don't smell it and taste it and you didn't go through the hassle of doing it, it's not as good. They'd be like, screw you. We figured it all out, and that's all we care about.
Well, I don't, and my argument...
I wonder what I wonder about the mental health aspects. Some of the things that I've been watching is, we've seen I have an article up right now, 56% spike in teen suicide rates in the last decade from 2007 to 2017. There's all sorts of theories on why that is. To jump to the conclusion, well, it's because of electronics, I think is premature, but why?
Yeah.
Well, let me throw this at you guys. Here's the core of my argument, as simply as I can put it. If I send you a hug emoji, it will never be equal to giving you a hug. What I'm suggesting is that the digital... Well, tell me what you would rather get from your daughter. A hug emoji or a hug?
It depends on if you took a shower.
That is true. So there's you just hit without knowing it, you just hit something that actually hasn't been released yet. I'm actually working with a company. There's an amazing lady, Deb, and I'll leave her last name off of this, but there's a company out there called Matrix Guard. Deb is amazing. She is basically unicorns and rainbows distilled into about a 5'1", 5'2" Jewish lady who loves fucking everybody. Doesn't matter who they are, okay? And she grew up not that way at all. So it's amazing to see how she's done. I'm helping her, along with 3 or 4 other people, build a digital app. And the app is going to go out to everybody. And you can, and it's a first stage, there's a bunch of stuff we're doing with it, but you can actually request hugs. It's all anonymous. You can send out and go, I need a hug. And you'll get hugs from everybody. And the same thing the other way around. You can send people hugs. And a lot of the studies are showing that just receiving that knowledge is enough for so many people. Knowing that they're not alone, knowing that there's a lot of people out there, knowing that there's other people out there. It's that instant, like, okay, I can get through this because I've got it. To me, though, I will get because I only have Morgan week on and week off. I'll get hugs from her when she's over at her mother's. And to me, that means the same. It's not the same experience. It's absolutely not the same experience as the holding, the hugging, and just, it's just basically hugging. But sometimes if that's all you got, that's all you got. And damn it, it's good.
And I will give you that I would rather Zoom with you than not see you.
Yeah.
I will give you that if I am choosing a substitute, that this is a superior substitute. But Chris, having been in your physical presence, this is not a substitute. Yeah. Having stood next to you, most of you don't know, Chris loves his little foot sock shoe. And you would never know that watching this.
Yeah.
You would only learn that from being in his presence. And I will fight tooth and nail that digital has yet, not to say it won't one day, okay? I'm an optimist, but it has yet to prove to be an adequate substitute. And this comes from a man who has traveled internationally and tried to hold together a family.
Yeah, you're right. No, you're right.
Okay? I tried to raise a teenager from 5,000 miles away on the other side of the planet. Doesn't work so good. So
no, it does not.
Because it is not an adequate substitute. The eye contact I make with you on this screen does not include the connection that I get when I make that eye contact with you in person. I don't know if you guys do this, but I do this. Chris, I'm talking to you, so I'm looking at you.
Yeah, no, I get it. Although I also know how I am, because I'm like Evan. I've got this up. I got the YouTube screen up over here, so I can watch the questions. and I've got a really awesome piece from a TED Talks about neuroscience up on this screen, and I'm just reading through it at the same time.
Right.
So, and again, we wouldn't do that if we were physically. I mean, it
Not a
pisses me off.
chance, because
It
it's
pisses me off. If
considered-
somebody's
it's
sitting there with
considered-
this and
Right.
they're talking, I'm like, put the fucking phone down.
And they've done studies that prove, by the way, that even having the phone on the table causes the other human being to be less valued. They've actually done studies on this, where the presence of the cell phone within a line of sight diminishes the value of the other human you're talking to. And this gets to my other point, and I'm probably going to ADD around a little bit. You guys can tell I got a lot of passion about this.
No, this is, yeah.
But here you go. I cannot give the same level of hug digitally that I can in person, but I can cause just as much hurt. I can
or more.
harm you.
Or more.
Or more.
Ooh,
I can
that's-
damage your emotions at a distance, but I can't reciprocate the love. And don't even get started on dick pics and why that's okay in the digital realm, but not in the physical. Because let me tell you, if I start going to the mall and just like, hey, what do you think? I'm going to jail.
Yeah, no, you absolutely. I
believe that we at this time, we'll call it 30 years in, have not yet adapted. And this is the root of our challenge in our industry. This is the root of the emotional and mental health issues that we see exacerbated through COVID. Zoom fatigue. How many times in the last 3 weeks have I said to somebody, you know, I could do freaking conferences, all day meetings, session after session, go out, drink, party, socialize, and be less exhausted than I am after 6 hours of Zoom calls.
Yeah, you got a good point.
Well, and check this out. I'm going to share a screen real quick just to show you, technology adoption. Can you guys,
can see it.
So, I mean, look at those curves, man. I mean, it's just mentally keeping up with all of that. And then from a security perspective, fuck it.
So we have, hang on, what's the first one? Is that power steering? So, okay. So power steering, what do we have? 30, well, high adoption by 20 years. Holy smoke. Whereas like tablets are 5 years. Social media, that's...
And it's kind of all hitting you at the same time, right? It's like boom, 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 boom.
Oh, that's
part of the overload too, the convenience overload. The fact that, and Chris, you touched on this, these time-saving devices are the most time suck in my life.
Oh, I mean, it's nuts. I mean, can you share this one on the YouTube? Oh, you can. It's showing on the red YouTube. Okay, that's splendid. That's really cool. That works. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, when you look at it that to me, Ryan, I think the one thing that hit me is the love versus not really hate, but in essence, it is hate. Being able to show you the caring remote. I want my Rugrat down here because I would be really interested to get her thoughts on there, whether she has the same views that we do. Because you're right, we're 30-ish years into this.
Right.
And we're adapting because we have to, whereas they were born into at least the early stages of this.
Yeah. No, we come from an analog era.
Yeah.
My love affinity for Lego has a lot to do with that. My love affinity for LP, for vinyl, right, has a lot to do with that. It goes back to this theory that analog is messy and nuanced and digital is rigid.
You won't get me back to LPs. You're not going to get me back to LPs. That ain't going to happen. I'm sorry. My digital streaming music, that is one area I'm like, yes.
No. I love it. Don't get me wrong. The fact that I have the entirety of the world's music catalog at the touch of my fingertips is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
But when I want to listen to one of my most favorite songs and emotionally connect with my music, there is no better sound quality because of the nuance, because of the noise, the mess, and maybe it's part nostalgia for the crack and pop, I don't know, but it's digital is rigid. And here's the other piece. Digital creates a barrier between humans. And what I mean by that is the keyboard courage and the anonymity of the internet has allowed us to behave in a manner we wouldn't have the stones to do face to face.
That I've always said. That I'm actually 100% with you on that one. That's why, to me, Twitter pisses me off, because that's why to some degree I like LinkedIn. I like this format because you have to be present. I have to know who you are. If you're going to insult me, it's not the same. But Twitter, the anonymity, as well as some of the others, I mean, the anonymity pisses me off so much, because you're right, you can insult anybody and you don't have the consequences. Hello, young lady. Whereas, hang on a second.
Yeah.
Can you open those in the other room?
Yeah.
Speaking of young ladies, my young ladies, do you want to come say hi for a second? You just come and say hi. Come and say hi. I know. Come say hi. Say hi. Ryan, up on this side.
Hi.
There. That's my Rugrat.
We're probably two of the coolest guys, other than your dad.
Yeah.
I mean, your dad is number one, but we're up there somewhere.
No,
I'm third.
Oh, damn it.
No, I'm third. Well, it's because I got the Harley. If you get a Harley, you're second.
No.
I'm not allowed to get
I got a Harley, Evan. It's right there on the shelf.
I can't ride that.
You should see me try to ride it.
Where were we before we got rugratted?
I mean, so the deal is that the tech is great, but if we don't really think about its impact, because the part of the problem I see is that human beings have this technology running their lives, but they treat it as if it's not impactful. So it's used as a toy, it's used as a tool, but it's actually an extension of their life, especially when it comes to the Rugrats.
Yeah, and I think that's right. Hang on, I'm actually going to ask the Rugrat. All right, so I got a question for you, apart from wanting a biscuit. We're asking this one live. Do you distinguish any differently between when I give you a hug or a digital hug, when you get like a digital hug from me, wherever I am, if I'm traveling or if I'm around?
What do you mean?
Like, how do you feel? Do you feel any different? Do you think about it the same way? Do you accept it the same way? Do you care about it any differently?
Yeah, do you like your dad's physical hugs more than maybe the emoji hugs?
When you're out, just in general.
I love you. Go away. I'll take a biscuit though. All right.
You have biscuits.
What was the answer?
The answer was, she's like, well, seeing as I ignore most of your texts when you're away and traveling anyway. I'm like, yeah. So I don't know. It's a 16-year-old's answer. I'm not sure there is.
Right.
I think with her, I don't think there is much of a difference.
Well, okay, I'm going to go a little adult for a second. I can tell you that when I'm on the road and I'm trying to be intimate in a adult nature with my wife via technology,
Yep.
There's no comparison for in person. There's no substitute. It doesn't even come close.
Yeah.
Right? And it definitely doesn't fulfill. There's not a fulfillment. If anything, when I communicate on the road, it's a maintenance type of communication. It's a check-in. It's a, hey, babe, I love you and you're important and I've made this time for you. But it by no means is equal to when I walk in the door after getting off the flight.
Sure. Well, I think there's a couple of things. One is just, is it good for us? Like just as human beings, right? Our social interaction, our society, humanity, that kind of stuff. And we haven't even gotten to how the hell do you secure all of it? Right.
Well, that's a whole nother, well, and by the way, Evan, that's part of what I think the theory is, because I believe that we don't process digital information the same way as we do physical. I believe the digital systems are bypassing our inherent risk mechanisms, our built-in red flags that have kept our species alive until now. I believe we're completely circumventing them.
Okay, go back to the dick pic thing.
Okay.
And that's an interesting one. So self-preservation for, say, 99.9% of humanity says you don't whip it out in the middle of the shopping mall. There is definitely the 0.1%, which is, they have the trench coats, good for them. Totally understand it. But 99.99% of people have a self-preservation mechanism in real life. you have got a point that self-preservation mechanism almost goes away. And I wonder if it's because of the consequences and actions. We're still separated. There's still a piece of glass between myself and the consequences until the police arrive at the door, or in the case of Israel, they
or I
drop
get
a bomb.
canceled.
Yeah, or something like that happens. So I wonder if, and I'm not sure, and I don't know how the teams. I don't think that changes with them, and I don't know if there's any way of actually changing that until this screen goes away and it literally is embedded in here, at which point those consequences are right there.
I think that might be one path. I think it is possible, though, because you've achieved it, Evan's achieved it, I've achieved it.
Achieved what?
I think it is the ability to distinguish digital risk, the ability to recognize suspicious for suspicious in its digital context. So I'll give you this example, and we know this has worked on tens of thousands of people. I show up at your door, I open up my trench coat, and I got a bunch of gift cards from Amazon, Apple, eBay, iTunes. And all I need from you,
Yeah, you're getting the dog set on you. It's as simple as that. Yeah, absolutely.
I got a bag of gold I need to get out of the country.
Oh, shit. I mean, don't even. You're right. I mean, seriously, somebody turns up on the doorstep claiming to be from Kenya, Nigeria, long lost uncle there. Their suitcase is in the car. The suitcase is in the car.
Yep.
And all I need is $100 to unlock the car because bugger off.
Right. And that and this is the core of what spawned my theory, because I've been trying to solve for the same problem we've all been trying to solve for. How do you fix the human? How do you fix the human? And I started to really think about this, and I realized early on in my thoughts, they do not appear to me. Now, mind you, I am not a well-educated man. I don't have any degrees in neuroscience. I don't have any background in medical technologies or brain medicine or any of that. But observationally, as a person on the planet, I can see you're reacting different. I can see that you can watch a video of something awful and you're like, ooh, I didn't like that. And if you saw that same thing in person, you would need a trauma counselor for 10 years.
Military, perfect example, seeing death in person and all the other senses reacting. Seeing it on doesn't even have to be a movie, seeing it on a TV or something.
You can see a real documentary. I remember as a kid, because I had a crazy upbringing, watching Faces of Death at a
I remember that
age.
Whoa. Damn. We didn't get that in the UK that I know of. Right.
Having seen real death, it's not the same thing. It's not. Yeah. It's not. And so, and this is why I think the predators are successful on the internet. We train the kids to watch out for the guy in the windowless panel van. Well, what happens in that panel van is a Discord, what the hell? I can't think of the name now. The Bitmoji.
Oh yeah, no. Well, hell, Discord channel, Snapchat, doesn't really matter what it is. Pick your forum. Yeah.
But we have trained them effectively. I mean, I'm from the milk carton generation. If you left the house, you were guaranteed to disappear in a panelless window van and show up on a milk carton. That was guaranteed. That's how it worked. You were gonna be on a milk carton. And that's the thing. These kids know nothing about that. Every breakfast I ever had was accompanied by a missing or exploited child.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So there was that real world connection. I mean, you literally open your fridge and there was some missing kid on the milk carton.
Well, so when you've got the ability to use technology and consume it and understand it, right? The difference, right, between analog and digital. But then it's, you bring the risks used to be outside my door.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, they were out there. They weren't in here. Yeah, they're in my pocket. They're in my child's bedroom, right? They're doing all sorts of things. Even if I police it well, which I think I've done a fairly good job, it's not a guarantee, right? The bad guys are still out there. They find ways around things.
Well, they know about the new app that kids are on long before we ever do.
True.
And so what I'm getting at though is the core of this is that disconnect. So parents today don't know how to provide appropriate parenting for the digital age. This group is an exception because again, we're in touch with and in tune with.
Yeah.
But the majority of people are not. The majority of people, tech is still magic. It's a toy, it's entertainment, it's non-impactful to real life. And those are the same people that bank, that love, that maintain their marriage, that whatever they do, they're using that device. We talked about this on the Daily Insanity. I think it might have been today. If it wasn't today, it was yesterday. But we talked about what happens when you take a cell phone away from a child.
Oh, yeah, that was today.
It was today. They go through physiological pain. There is an actual withdrawal and physiological response to the removal of this technology. If you take my phone away, I look at you and I say, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, yes.
Appreciate it.
I mean, we are actively, that is actually true. I mean, I was talking to somebody today about heading out to the lake house in about a month's time. And they were like, well, why'd you go out there? I'm like, one, because I can get away. And secondly, my diving gear is out there. I literally put my phone in the house. I put a couple of tanks on my back. I put a dry suit on. I head out. I drop into the lake. I don't take a fucking flag with me. And I go sit on the bottom of the lake for literally 2 weeks or a week and a half. And I don't care about technology. Whereas the Rugrat, yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah, no shit, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. Again, I think it's to that point, different parenting. I mean, she can be away from it for an extended period of time, but there are also many that would react, as you said, would be, it's that separation anxiety at that point.
Well, and it's because to them, it is an extension of themselves. To us, it is not. If my child grew a new arm, I would be freaked out. But yet they grow an attachment to this iPhone as if it's a new arm. And I'm like, I guess that's how it works. And it's because of that disconnect, because we are analog. Ultimately, human beings at the end of the day are truly analog. And if COVID taught us anything, the kids or not, they still need peer-to-peer interaction. They still do need 3D. I was in the office today, and every person I saw, I said, it's so good to see you in 3D.
Yeah,
I did tell one person today that they look better on camera than they do in person.
True story.
Do you have to go and see HR some point in time soon?
No, because I'm the boss.
No, because it was true. No, we're kidding. We're kidding.
It is true.
I love it.
But the point being is, I got more out of a 30-second interaction in 3D than I get out of. So why is that? Well, in my belief, it's because I'm analog. I'm wired for face-to-face. I'm wired for physical touch. I'm wired for physical presence. And I don't know what theory you want to put around it, but I fully believe human beings produce energy fields of some sort, and that those interact with each other. It's where I get the bad vibes and the bad guys around. It's when, and this is the first time I realized this might be true. So as an IT support person, how many times did I go and literally touch nothing simply by showing up and waving my hands like this made the computer better? And one day I asked myself why that might be. And I landed on this theory that human beings are nothing more than giant electromagnets for all intents and purposes.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're all pissy and worked up, you're putting off bad vibes, and the computer's sensitive enough that it picks up those bad vibes and behaves weirdly. Then I show up calm and cool, like, what's going on, Mr. Computer? And it's like, nothing, I'm fine. So, I think that there is, and part of that frustration is rooted in the disconnect. Do you remember when we first tried to teach people how to use computers, how angry they were, how frustrated everyone was? Right? And how many tech calls did we get in our early days? Those support calls for stupid shit because people were just pissed off.
All the time. I mean, I literally, first computer job I had, I literally would, apart from having the floppy disk in one hand and the screwdriver in the other hand, half the time I would just go for a walk. I would literally just walk around the office and I'd walk around the place and just see how everybody was doing. Right. And you're right. You would just walk up and they'd be like, I'm having a problem with this. I'm like, let's just take a quick look at it. Oh, and off we go again. Yeah. I mean, it was, yeah.
And so, I think a lot of that conflict was rooted in, again, that inherent incompatibility, because what we were asking them to do was to treat it like it was real, right? We're like, this is where you do your work now. And they're like, what are you talking about? Why don't I have my book and my pen? And we're like, no, you do it with the keyboard now.
Well,
go on, sorry, Ralph.
No, another thing we talked about this morning was just the addiction, the addictive things about the technology and the apps that we're using. There have been studies that we build these things purposely so that you will get addicted to them.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're addicted to them, you will use them, and if you use them, I make money off of that use. And so we have this like society where it's adopting technology all the hell over the place, all the damn time, this constant chase for convenience. And you brought up the point, earlier, Chris, that my life's not more convenient. My life is more complicated than it's ever been. I'm probably more pissed off than I've ever been, so thankfully I'm getting older. So with age comes like, I don't need shit anymore. I don't need any more things. I started buying things for memories. So I bought the Harley so I can make memories. My wife and I ride and we make memories. And I purposely don't have a smart home, not because I'm afraid it's going to get hacked, but it's like, I don't need any more shit.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. It's I tread a fine line on some ways. I mean, I have with the HVAC systems that we have in the house here are digital. Part of that's from a convenience standpoint because I can have it come into a central system, figure out what's going on. The alarm systems all on but a chunk of it's on a Zigbee network. The cameras are all wireless and all that kind of stuff. But again, it's on an entirely separate network. Turn that around, right in front of me, I got a pair of Adcom monoblock 565s from late 80s, early 90s. I got a pair of Infinity Reference RS2Bs from late 80s, early 90s, but they play from a DAC that streams from iTunes, and I just upsample it and do some other fun stuff, and it goes to the Apple TV. So there's that blend, and I love the sound that comes out of those. Is freakishly amazing.
Well, and everybody's got their own level of tolerance, right? I'm not going to be one who's going to judge somebody for using too much technology or too little technology. It's like how many hours people work, right? I feel comfortable working 70, 80 hours a week. Other people feel comfortable at 40. It's not that one's better than the other. They're just different, but with the technology, we were talking this morning, like my wife, my dishwasher, it's not one connected to the internet because hell no. I just, but it broke like 2 years ago and I didn't fix it. And my wife was, finally, she got tired of it. And so she just got it fixed. And I said, why did you get it fixed? And she said, well, for convenience. I'm like, is it more convenient? Because the way it was working for the last year and a half is as soon as we got done with dinner, I would wash the plates or wash the dishes, and then they would sit there and dry, and then we'd put them away, and then they'd be ready almost immediately the next time we needed them. That to me seems convenient. Instead, with the dishwasher, because now we're seeing it, that you just accumulate more and more dishes in that damn thing until it stinks so damn bad, you're just tired of it. And then you go to cook something and you're like, shit, where's that one thing? Oh, fuck, it's in the dishwasher.
But okay. I mean, and again, so that's balance. To me, there's balance in that. I've got a dishwasher in the lab space, for crying out loud. So because I have all the glasses down here for the whiskey tasting room, but we have one upstairs, but we use it like every 2 or maybe 3 days. One, because I cook a bunch, but secondly, you're right, they go in, but we have enough saved up that we have like 2 or 3, enough of everything if we need it. But you're right, then it adds a different thing, which is like, well, hang on, it finished, who's emptying it, who's filling it, who's putting it on, did it get put on? And you have added complexity, whereas you're right, use a dish, wash the fucking thing up, 30 seconds later it's ready. And by the way, you can still carry on talking and interacting with somebody while you're doing that.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I'll give you one.
And again, just real quick, that's my life. You know what I mean? I don't fault anybody for doing what they do. but
I
it
will
did
say
make things
anybody
more
that
convenient for me.
I will say anybody that has an Alexa, I will find fault with that, and I'll just leave it at that.
So here you go, guys. Here's one that we've all experienced. I know phone numbers. You know phone numbers. You don't know a single freaking phone number that you learned after you got a smartphone.
Oh, I hate you because you're so right. But
Right.
okay, no, actually, I do and I don't hate you. Here's the difference. I knew like my grandparents' phone number, what my mother's was at the time, what my father's was, and maybe 2 or 3 dozen others. The rest of them I wrote down in the book.
Sure.
Now, and that was it. The rest was only maybe 2 or 3 dozen. Now, when I look in my address book, I have, I don't even know how to tell the stupid thing. How do you even tell how many you've got?
Yeah, that's actually a good question. I don't know.
What
What are you rocking? You an iPhone guy or an Android guy?
This is on contacts I'm on the computer. This is contacts.
Well, now you got me curious.
Yeah, I don't. It's a couple of thousand. Let's put it that way.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying, right? And you know, and don't get me wrong, I appreciate the augmentation and the low efficiency cyborg that our cell phone has made us. Right? I get that. But because we're not actually interfaced with it, I think it's creating some problems. I think a big part of our security issue is because, again, we don't process that risk the same way. You know, think about digital dating. And I know lots of positive stories that have come out of that. But I was just watching another Twitter rant earlier today about the unsolicited dick pic.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So what's the breakdown? What makes you in your head go, I'm not going to take it out at the mall, but I'm going to whip out my iPhone 10 and use I forget what filter it is, but there's one that makes it really impressive. There's like a wide angle.
Oh no, you serious? Oh no.
Right? So, you know, you get the right angle on the little light. Now all of a sudden, you know, but what's that mental trigger that says, I won't do it here?
Right.
I will do it here. Like, it's the same activity. You're
But there's that separation. In the physical world, somebody's going to look at it and go, little buddy, you need to up the man vegetable thing.
Right.
Whereas to your point on the digital power, apparently there's a filter that you can put on to elevate the enhancement level.
Apparently you can, right? There's and to somebody we both know, they made a filter to prevent the receipt of.
Smart. That's actually really smart. Good for so it's based. I love and I hate technology. The fact that it's the same thing. I've got Haya running on this to filter spam calls.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, it's a spam. It's an anti-dick pic spam filter.
Yes, there is. So we actually, I think you follow her on Twitter. I know I
Probably.
do.
Yeah.
So basically, what happened is she put an open call to the internet for dick pics so she could build her database.
Just for the record, I did not participate in that.
And you can imagine, I think it was an hour until she was in the 2 to 3 digits above a comma.
Oh shit!
Right. So
no.
What is the disconnect that makes you think that's okay behavior? What is the disconnect that makes you okay to spew your Nazi hate on your Twitter feed, but you would dare open your mouth in a public setting?
Consequences and actions. There was somewhere back up in here we were talking about it, and
I'm not a fan of Nazis, but I'll respect the one that speaks up their garbage opinion out loud way more than I respect one that tweets it.
Yeah, because you know damn well that somebody could physically come up and upside them. Yeah, exactly. Whereas online,
reach out and touch somebody, right? Why don't you exactly in public? Because somebody might touch you. They might have something to say with 5 fingers to your face.
Well, and this is a really deep subject because you've got all these mental sort of things, and then you've got, what about the spreading of disinformation?
Oh, God,
how easy is that? I mean, I can't find. I was talking with Dave Kennedy, right? And we were talking about how do you find like the real information? I don't know where to go. Everything's so damn biased.
It's effort. It's so much effort, and then honestly, some of it purely comes down to Best guess. I mean, Snopes, thankfully, is good for some of it, but you can't even go to Forbes and get good information half the time, let alone, to your point, the media and the press are all going to have their biases to some degree. Honestly, my homepage is the BBC. When I open up my browser, my homepage is the BBC.
I'm a fan of the BBC.
It ain't perfect, but I tell you, to me, it has a lot. And you actually get world news. It's really amazing. Like the Supreme Court, was it earlier this week? Yep. Supreme Court earlier this week upholding the LBGQ, I'm going to fuck it up, LBGQT stuff. And saying, hey, congratulations, they are fucking humans, you dumbasses. Get over it. And you're like, yes, splashed all over the BBC. Nothing at all on like CNN, NBC, Yahoo News or anything. I'm like, surprising there.
Well, so I'll take that a little bit further. Here's another example. So let's say I've got an opinion and I print it out on a flyer and I staple it to a phone pole. Okay? You see that, you may or may not take it in, you may or may not interact with it. If I put that same opinion on a social media post, I'm going to cause reactions. People are going to treat it as somehow being more valuable. Right? And then I'll take it one further. We know, 40% of social media is bots? Isn't that the current stat, something like that?
Is that what it is? I knew it was a bunch. I don't know what exactly.
Don't quote me. I don't have the exact number. And again, Percocet. But I want to say it's a significantly high percentage that is bots. That is AI. And we're treating it as if a human had an opinion. If Microsoft Word starts having opinions, I'm going to be like, what the hell's going on? And so that's back to that physical digital disconnect. I don't think as humans we have the hard wiring today to natively make those distinctions and to differentiate between that content and process it in the same way. Here's another one. The guy's in the street with a megaphone spouting off nonsense.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, after a little while, we call the cops because, hey, there's a crazy guy out here with a microphone shouting nonsense. That same guy becomes a Twitter personality or president or whatever might happen. And then we just lock, stock, and barrel. Oh, let's retweet that. Let's retweet that.
It's funny how often, too, you see something on Twitter and you're like, that is 100% bullshit. But I don't say anything because I don't want to be, they've got the numbers. You know what I mean? Right. You've got 50,000 followers. I've got 1,600.
Right.
It's going to be, ganging up, even though you're 100% wrong. What you're saying is bullshit. But a lot of times I'll just let it go.
Perfect example. 2 days ago. Which one was it? T-Mobile? T-Mobile decided to go. Yeah.
I was impacted.
Yeah, I wasn't. It was great. Verizon for once. Yay.
AT&T. Woo.
No, you're done.
No, you don't get to woohoo AT&T.
Son of a bitch.
You're done.
Damn it. Sucks to be me.
But
we just fired
for how long did 3/4 of the internet go, it's an attack, it's the biggest one we've seen,
largest attack in U.S. history?
I mean, it was everywhere. It spread like fucking what. I got hit with a bunch of media people were like, hey, can you comment on this? I'm like, how about you go back and validate where you got that shit from? Yeah,
when we talked the next morning in the Daily Insanity check-in, Ryan, the story was still, somewhat DDoS.
Yeah.
Right. And I said on that, the one time I've seen this happen, because I've saw it happen, it was a misconfiguration. It's either a misconfiguration or a hardware failure. Mm-hmm. That's where I would go first, right? If you've been in this industry long enough and you understand how this shit works, look there first.
Who tripped over the fucking
because there's like an 80% chance somebody oops.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, we
start there and then go to DDoS, maybe eventually.
There was a big one fairly recently where they rolled out like a misconfigured system, and I mean it nailed like a chunk of decent high ranking systems because they'd screwed up some kind of BGP routing or something like that. Yeah, it's
Is US West still a thing?
No, that's Quest now.
US West became Quest.
And then Quest became CenturyLink.
Okay.
Oh, and that's all under. Who the hell have I got? The fuckwits at Xfinity. Bunch of assholes there.
I'm old as shit. But back in the day, I was running Jask software. You remember Paint Shop Pro?
Oh my God, yeah.
So I was their guy who did, set up their infrastructure and security. And we were doing a bunch of cool shit then that nobody was really doing, but and so we had fractional DS3, right? That's who the hell has that back in, the 90s. And Quest actually, US West at the time, actually DDoSed us. Yeah, because they put a damn one of their techs, in downtown.
Oh, there you go.
You want to talk about older shit?
Oh yeah, nice.
Pre-release, when I got seconded to go work for them.
I stole a copy of Windows 95 before it was released from a bulletin board, and I was the first guy in my circle of people back then that had Windows 95 running, 26 floppies.
You guys remember these freaking things?
That took forever to download.
128 meg optical disc. Now,
we're going
who's
to
got
the
the
history
shit?
books? Hold on, I got one for you.
All right. This is a pissing contest. Hold on. Let me show you mine too.
No dick pics, not even on the shit show.
No. All right.
Wait for it, gentlemen. Wait for it. Still wrapped in plastic.
Oh, no shit.
I will pay you $3 for that.
Still wrapped in plastic.
I'll give you $3.
$5.25.
All right, so while we're on that stupid shit, hold on a second.
And we've digressed.
Yeah, how did we get here? It's because you're drugs, damn it.
Oh, whatever. I'm having the time of my life. I hope other people are too.
And his shitty beer. We haven't even talked about, securing all this shit yet. I mean, what about security? What about safety? What about these kids that are bringing shit in? Human trafficking is going through the roof. Online predators is going through the roof. I mean, it's just
buddy.
shit. Oh, yeah.
There we go. What's
5 meg.
Megs?
5 meg.
5 meg.
That's a Seagate. That's a Seagate. That was made about 30 miles from here.
No shit, seriously.
Okay. So I'm gonna one up Evan on this one. So from where I live, it's actually about 5 miles.
Why are we competing? I'm just saying shit. Damn it.
ST412. I've had that one for a while. We'll just leave it at that.
I got fired once because it took me too long to set up a SCSI controller because I couldn't get the damn dip switches correct.
Oh, jeez. That's it. I mean, we used to wander around with those fucking 3Ms and a screwdriver, and that was work.
Well,
That's what it is.
Well, there's a whole nother episode here too. The security people that are in the industry now that have been here for a while, we used to have to troubleshoot things without Google. Which was a good thing because you actually had to learn the basics of how this shit actually operates. How do networks work? How do computers work? How do disk drives work? Because you had nothing. It was you and whatever the hell you're sitting in front of. You could call, the manufacturer, but you weren't going to get anybody that knew what the hell was going on either, because it was one developer in the back that coded some shit, and he doesn't work there anymore.
Yep. And he coded it in such a way that he's the only human on earth that can read it.
That happened to me so many times. I remember one time when I was working on a RAID controller, and this is going to sound funny now, a drive failed. So I was called to go out and repair this drive. So I put, or replace the drive, and I'm bringing up, the array again. And it, I've never done this before. And I'm presented with a BIOS menu, BIOS, and I'm like, And it's got a bunch of options, and one of the options that seemed logical to me at the time was initialize. I was like, oh yeah, I want to initialize the drive.
Yes, you do. 100%.
Oh,
and I'm like, what the fuck just happened? What?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah, that was
big whoops.
That was early 90s before, but nobody knew. I was calling all kinds of people like, how the fuck do I get this thing working? They're like, I don't know. I'm like, well, here are my options. I don't know. Should I try initialize? Sure.
Yeah, why not? Beats format.
Well, it would have been nice if they would have fucking called it format.
Yeah, but here's the other part. For 40 years, we've been making shit up as we've gone along.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be honest. I mean, we're still doing it. Somebody was talking to me about it.
Have you seen some of our terms?
Oh, I'm doing a paper at the moment talking about communication between base stations and spatial systems.
Okay.
And we're actually, I say this can't go anywhere, but we're talking about a fucking YouTube. We're actually going to use quantum entanglement. So we're actually going to communicate using an entanglement architecture that I'm currently designing. So again, making shit up as we go along.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's how science works. We were talking about this too in the daily insanity check-in, right? There's two types of science. There's historical science and there's observational science, right? And observational science is you try this. Oh, fuck, that didn't work. So then you change. And then,
See, I've always come from my background. I was really I mean, I left school when I was 15. I got my O levels and I was done. I did go back and do a little bit of sixth form, but not much. And then one of the organizations I was working for before I went in the military went and sent me off to Oxford for less than a year. I was for under a year. When I was at Oxford, I studied theoretical mathematics. And that's always been my fun. My happy space is theoretical mathematics. I think it's freaking amazing because you can just go way out there. And then the practical mathematics, the ones that have to actually, they hate us because they're like, what the fuck are you coming up with?
Yeah, how did you get there?
Well, you guys came up with discrete mathematics, and frankly, you can suck it. Just saying. And if y'all don't know what discrete mathematics is, you'll feel the same way.
Oh, it is amazing stuff. I love it.
I did wear a special shirt tonight. I think you'll get a kick out of.
Oh, I like that one. Is that?
See, I'm just wearing my
that one.
Mental health hackers.
Yeah, I got my DEFCONs canceled one on tonight.
Nice.
I like it. So Evan had brought up, okay, so we have this disconnect, right? And the whole reason that I've been spending so much time thinking about this analog human breakdown is rooted in our industry. It's rooted in this idea that because risk is not being processed the same way, what do we need to do to change how we're educating, to change how we're creating the relationship with tech? Because the frank reality is it is an embedded part of our lives, yet we treat it as if it's not. And haptic feedback on the keyboard. You fuck up on the keyboard, you get tasered or you get electrocution. I like that.
There's Pavlov. I mean, that's one of the theories, right?
That is
it's part of it.
But I think, to your question, Evan, how do we protect people, right? How do we keep these kids safe? How do we do all these things? I believe that it starts with changing our relationship with technology. We need to, if we're going to continue to use it, it's time to change our relationship with it. And no longer is it a toy. No longer is it a tool. Treat it as the integrated part of our reality that it is. Because when I go to the doctor, it's nothing but tech. When I get in my car, it's a bunch of tech. When I go to my job, it's a bunch of tech. When I'm restoring this RV from the 70s. And if I didn't have Amazon and I didn't have Google, it wouldn't be happening, right? Yeah. So it's time to change our relationship. And I think if we change our relationship status, if you will, we change how we think about it. We change how we talk about it. We change how we approach it. And that is, in my opinion, the fundamental issue in the human digital relationship is that we treat it like it's not our life and use it like it is.
So we did a webinar earlier this week or last week with the Wiser crew again, and it was kids. It was all about the kids stuff and kids and technology, and we had Hagnati on and a bunch of other folks. And my opening thing was this is a weapon. Yeah. We need to treat this as a weapon. I can actually kill you with this. And there's the one young lady who basically persuaded her boyfriend to basically, unfortunately, end his life through using one of these. And more than one instances, you talk about healthcare, telehealth, the ability now to influence your results and all that stuff using one of
don't
these.
even get me started on telehealth. I couldn't even get the fucking phone call to complete.
And that's, so there we go. So now, and that's it, you know, and I think that's the other big part of it as well, is us from a technology standpoint. You're right, this technology to almost this point, when we fuck it up, the worst case scenario, you reboot and off you go. But we are at a point now when we screw up, people die.
Yeah.
Not exaggeration. We're not going off the deep end. It's reality. We're here. So you really have a huge point on that one. I don't know if we can adapt. I don't know if this generation can adapt.
We can, and I'll tell you why we can. Herd mentality. We just need a strong enough, loud enough leader or leaders to shift the herd. If the Kardashians can win, we can win too. Okay? Please don't puke in your mouth. I know you want to. It makes me feel the same feeling. Trust me. But
you're right. You have a point. Yeah, you have a point.
Okay. We've got to. So I think of Mad. Here's the example that I come up with that I think is the corollary in our society. So in the 1970s, it was mandated by federal law that you had to have the baby on your lap without a seatbelt while smoking and drinking and driving. That was federal law. If you operated a car not doing that, shame on you. It was the 70s. And we had this huge rash of drunk driving. And so for 20 years, what did we do? We put a smashed up car in front of a high school and we said, kids, don't drink and drive. Right? Took us 20 years, but we made a difference. Drunk driving rates are the lowest that they've been because we've worked at that. We've addressed that as a societal problem. To me, and you've heard me say this before, everybody's drunk driving the wrong way in the information superhighway, and I'm tired of it because you're putting me at risk. You're putting you at risk. You're putting your kids and your grandkids that aren't even born yet at risk. Yeah. And you're doing this simply because you don't know that that's not okay. Family story, and I can tell it now because my grandfather, bless his soul, has passed away. Every day on the way home, he had a six-pack on the way home from the office. Because that's just kind of what you did. He just, you know, he'd leave work and he'd drink his beers on the way home. By the time he got home, he was in a perfect mood to deal with the family. Keep in mind, the guy had 8 kids.
Ooh, yeah, okay, acceptable.
Okay. But it was normal. It was normal. It was just the way you did things. And nobody really understood the consequence because nobody had really painted the picture yet to go, hey, there's this big trend nationally because you only knew about your local. You maybe caught something from Cronkite, right? But mostly you knew about what was going on in your own backyard and not much else. And then along came Mad. Yeah. And I think we're at that point again where we need to start to show the consequences of this. Honda couldn't make cars for the last week.
Right.
Yeah.
And guess what? Those people, they didn't get to work. You think Honda paid those employees when they sent them home?
Right.
Not if they're good at running business, they didn't.
Taking the fifth on that one because I know a little bit more about that than I'm ever going to admit on camera at this moment in time.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Let's talk to you offline.
Definitely.
But my point is
you are right though. You are,
it's real. It's physical. It's impactful. It's affecting people's livelihoods. It's affecting so many things. Evan loves his data. Think about how the digital data and the digital models of COVID have impacted us over the last couple months. They've impacted and influenced decisions. They've done all these things, yet we still don't treat it like the real integrated part of our lives that it is. And I go back to it. I believe that's because there's a foundational disconnect in our brains between the digital and the physical.
I put a LinkedIn post out a couple of days ago, last week, whenever it was, and I talked about the 6th ocean. And, you know, we have the 5 oceans, and there's all the, and the 6th ocean is exactly. And it was amazing. People like, oh my gosh, you know, da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, yeah, think about it that way. And by the way, the first 5, we've kind of fucked up. Let's be perfectly honest. And we're doing exactly the same to the sixth one. So at what point in time will we learn? And again, this goes back to previous conversations we've had. Do we have to experience pain and suffering in the physical world before we understand that the digital world is real? And I'll go with my Thanos. It's like, seriously, online, do I have to kill off half the population before everybody else goes, oh shit, we get it now? Or can we do it without killing off too many people?
And we're already there.
Dave Cruz.
TikTok.
Yeah. Oh shit.
What the fuck was the name of the challenge the kids were doing? They were sweeping the legs out from their friends. Well, oh god, that's a different issue.
The fucking Tide stupid thing in that one? Or
no,
are we talking about
it was God, I'm showing my age right now. It was where they were sweeping, they would come up on two friends would come up on either side of a friend and they'd leg sweep them.
Yeah.
Oh,
and like
and they were getting, breaking their skulls. I mean,
they'd leg sweep them.
Yeah. See, I told you our generation, the next generation is dumber.
Oh, fuck.
Okay.
No, I mean, we did stupid shit. I mean,
right. I know.
Did.
I'm kidding.
We didn't make a video of it and then show every other impressionable kid in the world how fucking dumb our friends were.
Fair.
True.
Yeah.
I would have if I would have had video.
You go, oh, same here. I've said this at least 50 times in a presentation. If adults in this room had cell phones as kids, half of us would be in jail and the other half would be unemployed.
True.
Yeah, I know where I'd be. I'd be 4. Yeah.
Yeah. Back to prison again.
Oh yeah, I love those 4 walls.
Did I say again?
Right? So it's and because we're not teaching them that this thing isn't just a toy.
Well, and Dave Cruz said something last week. He had that Facebook post, or LinkedIn post about, is the internet inherently, and I'm paraphrasing, inherently good or bad for humanity?
Ooh, yeah.
And I think the original thing was good, right? Good intentions, good everything. But it's just like anything when you get
money,
people and money and things involved. Now it's like, I don't think it's good anymore. There are good things. I'm not gonna say that's not true, but I think we're getting to the point now where the bad things are outweighing the good things. All the bad things that can happen, right? When you talk about, human trafficking, you talk about kids being, propositioned, by predators online. That one video that you and I, looked at, Ryan, it was, how many seconds was it after a fake, I think 14-year-old girl, 40 seconds. 40 seconds after she created her account, she was already being propositioned by a 39-year-old, I think it was, or a 43-year-old man.
Something like that, yeah.
And within the first hour, it was like 69 men or 68 men, something like that. It's like, holy shit, that quick.
And by the way, that would not happen at that volume and at that intensity in the physical realm.
Right.
Now, is there that guy that's going to proposition the 10-year-old girl at the mall? Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've always dealt with that.
And to your point, Chris, we used to deal.
Yeah.
That guy I don't know what he must have moved.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to that guy.
Happened to him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that got dealt with. Yeah.
And now you just don't even. Because again, that disconnect.
When you can't keep up with them, even if you do find them, because they are being found. I know people who take care of these things, but you can't keep up with it. The numbers are too high.
The problem is the challenge, especially this day and age, is you have 2 options, especially if they're either abroad or in a different locale. Is, do you physically confront or do you do it from a digital standpoint? And then you got 2 options on the digital standpoint. If you have to compile a report that goes for federal or authority-based stuff, there's so much stuff that you can't officially do. So then you got to play that fun game of like, I'm in the gray zone. How far can I push it? And then how can I basically mask what I'm doing in order to be able to get the evidence into such a place where somebody can use it effectively? I mean, it's a shit show. And to Ryan, to Evan's point, you just can't keep up. It's ridiculous. You just can't keep up.
Well,
and we would be able to keep up, I think, if we would just slow down a little bit, slow down on the adoption a little bit. I'm not saying get rid of it by any means, right? It does things, but you see people like my neighbors. I mean, they're just buying more tech shit, more tech shit, more tech shit. 8-year-old kids getting cell phones, and it's like, holy shit, slow down a minute.
Put another post out. I put another post out. I had a bit of a rant against Apple because my fucking mail account is going nuts. I've got like 8 or 9 mail systems coming into it. Mm-hmm. It should be able to handle that as far as I'm concerned. It's a fucking SMTP call out, for God's sakes. And yet, accounts D is going nuts. I put a rant out LinkedIn. I'm like, seriously, we don't need an iPhone 12. Most of us are perfectly okay with a 9 or 10 that we fucking have. Get an 11. You know what? Fix the shit you've already put out. Right. Take a step back, pause for a second, and actually fix it. The problem is they can't because the market expects it. The economy expects it. The shareholders expect it. We've sold our soul to capitalism. Capitalism demands its 3, 5, 10% rise every single year, which means we've got to keep putting more shit in people's hands. Simple. Right. Let's just go back to communism and be done with it.
Well, and even and it's gotten so far, like going back to the
dear agencies listening. I do not endorse or represent what Chris has as far as an opinion.
I've had those
I just keep talking about something else. Act like I didn't even hear it. What do you mean? He said what? Oh, I missed that. Really?
No,
did he say that?
Miss it, caught it, and
well, because you called attention to it. You just got to keep talking and act like it never happened.
Freaking stealing their addresses, and I'm just waiting for him to come be like, so.
See, why did you admit you knew that too? You're gonna get called to the stand. I don't know nothing, man.
Oh man, I've had those conversations in some of those rooms.
No, but I think, guys. I mean, that's the root of this is, again, no other thing in society have we adopted the way we've adopted this, that we've allowed it to change our life in such direct and impactful ways in such a short time. You showed the graph, man. I mean, the numbers don't lie. And I don't think, I've met humans. They don't like change. While we love to adopt the tech, we don't like change. So what do? We carry our behaviors with us into this new realm. These incompatible behaviors.
Yeah, that's a good point.
As analog, right? There's not a 1-to-1. And we know what is a modem. And I don't think we have a modem in us. I think we have the ability to consume it, but I don't think we actually have a modem. I don't think we do the conversion to get a 1-to-1 connection back to our physical being. Yet I've conducted 90% of my very most important things in life this week digitally. I mean, I had a hell of an experience with the annual follow-up with my doctor. Tried using the video chat. Oh God, it was awful, dude. It was like a Laurel Hardy episode. It was the worst thing ever. It was just like she'd get 3 robot words out and then the call would drop. And then we'd reconnect and I'd get 2 words out and the call would drop. I mean, and at the end of it, guys, you know what? I didn't have a real experience with my doctor. That was the weirdest interaction I've ever had with that doctor. Normally we connect. It's a 15-minute visit. Okay, your cholesterol's good, your blood pressure's all right, you're not going to die this week. Have a great one. See me next year. It ended up taking twice as long. And at the end of it, on the final follow-up, she's like shouting out the last couple things she wants me to know before the call drops again. Jesus. I mean, dude, it was the worst. Right?
I could get to a doctor one day. At some point in time, I should probably go see one.
I only had to go because I had damn kidney stones. And then they found out it was cancer.
Yeah, you and your doctors.
That's not.
So they just took it. They just took out the kidney. But now I'm good, and I'm back on energy drinks. My full regimen. I'm good.
So I mean, I guess for me, the answer for how we fix this, if you will, starts with a conversation about let's start to embrace the reality that we've all taken on. Let's stop treating it as it's somehow not part of our life, that it's somehow just a toy or a tool. And
We've been
start
trying to do
respect.
that for a long time. What would be a new way for us to do that? That's the challenge. I mean, we've been in this industry for a long time and it's the same message. You know what I mean?
Start to enlist.
Choose strong passwords. Well, fuck,
Start
you're
to
still
enlist
not doing
those
it.
not in our industry.
Do what?
Start to enlist those not in our industry. Start to have this message come from the place all the other messages come from. Why is this not an AMA conversation about appropriate device use and its correlation to depression and anxiety? Why is this not a conversation with parents when we teach them about, watch out for the creepy, free candy van and, make sure your kid gets its immunizations? Why is this not a parenting conversation? Why is this not a pamphlet that goes home with new parents?
That's the thing that we did with the Wiser thing. We put a contract out for kids, and for parents,
Great.
We're lining up another one for back to school. We're going to do another one for back, and actually we're going to have the kids. There's going to be a bunch of like 4 or 5 of the kids. We're going to have them online and go, look, what do you want to see? But again, that's just us. It's like
Somebody says we should make an FR Secure TikTok account.
I saw that. Yeah, good luck on that one. Reach the young'uns.
Yeah, well, and we could, but somebody do it on a burner device that's never going to touch any network ever.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
but I really believe wholeheartedly the only way to solve this is by moving it out of our bucket. So Evan said something to me, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. He goes, Ryan, I was trying to put information security in a bucket, and I realized it doesn't fit in a bucket because it belongs in all the buckets.
Could we make it? Could we? Who was I talking to? Oh, I know who I was talking to. Jeff Mann. I love him to death, and he and I were talking about this a little bit, which is information security. The industry needs to die. It needs to basically move into everything else. It literally needs to dissolve into the rest. It's like sugar in a cup of tea. It's like you put the sugar in, it's great, and then it's everywhere. And it's not sugar and a cup, it's a cup of tea. End of discussion.
I agree. I really believe that's the next evolution because we are in everything. IT is in everything. I've challenged people before. Please live your life as it is right now, this moment, without involving any computers anywhere. Because everybody goes, I don't have to use my phone today. I can do this. No. No computers anywhere. So that means you're going to the grocery store.
Yep.
You can't go to the gas station. You can't go to the pharmacy. You can't. Oh, you mean you can't conduct a regular daily life?
Yeah, you're on your bike, basically. You sure as hell not getting money out of anywhere because most of that's obviously controlled digitally. You're back to a bartering system or, gold and silver or something. I mean, it's...
Right. And we know that's not going to happen. So, again, let's embrace the reality we have and let's start to pivot and adjust our life skills to be compatible with that reality. We're going to have to train this one because it's not inherent in our nature. And that's the core of my theory, is that it's not inherent in our nature, and therefore it has to be a learned skill.
A habit. It has to become a habit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But how do we do that? I mean, we haven't even gotten to the point. I was talking to a bunch of educators the other day. I mean, we haven't gotten to a point where we address this with kids before they've been... I mean, the first time Mo actually went through any kind of training was when she hit high school. Yet she'd had a phone before that. She'd obviously been exposed to tech before that. Yes, there are a lot of kids that don't have access to technology. Totally understand that one.
Yep.
But there's a ton of kids that do, that get to it even before any kind of education system's gone. And I mean, to me, it's like, okay, how do we influence the education system to get them to do it, let alone parents? I have a love-hate with the whole parent idea because there are, unfortunately, probably a large percentage of parents who either A, don't understand it themselves, or simply just don't care, or don't want to have the conversations, or or just don't know how to. You can empower them, and you've got to cross your fingers and hope. But to me, it's education system, it's parental system.
Well,
don't
so
know.
I look at what North Dakota is doing. So North Dakota has taken a position that every citizen going forward will be cyber savvy. So they have developed and implemented K through higher ed, so K through 20 curriculum embedded directly in age appropriate. It scales up over time.
That's actually freaking cool. So how do you duplicate that between one state to another 40? How many you got in this damn country now? 50? Head to another
50.
49 of the damn things.
Well, 50 official and 52 that we,
Well, we're going to get rid of a couple.
Well, maybe we'll see. We'll see if Oregon succeeds or Oregon. Oregon.
Oregon.
I think California wants to too.
So
Texas keeps on wanting to.
So like all things in our industry, it's multifaceted.
Yeah.
But we've got to start taking that whole picture, whole human approach to this. We've got to detect this conversation. We have got to get it out of our circles and into others. We've got to get the participation of those. And the only way I know to successfully do that is by meeting them where they are and speaking their language.
God help us. We need the freaking Kardashians to take this on, don't we? I mean, literally. I mean, I hate to say it, but that's what we need.
All right, hold on. Let me email. I was saving this card for something else, but whatever.
Screw email. We'll just take over the telephone. It's easier that way.
Right. But it does have to get to that level of simplicity, that level of understanding before we start to make this turn.
Well, and to somebody's credit, I mean, in perspective, security is talked about more today than it ever has been at home.
Sure.
So we're just not keeping up. We're not going fast enough, right?
Yeah.
Technology is still outpacing the discussion, the education.
Well, and let's be honest, guys. I mean, I can talk to you two, and that's fine. But most of our peers, are you kidding me?
Love Rachel. She's freaking awesome. Go get Oprah.
Exactly.
Oprah.
Well, you almost
We talked about that, right?
Yeah.
You almost
a
have
warbot
to.
for you and a warbot for you.
Most
Yeah,
IT
no, you're right.
security
You
people
are right.
barely speak human.
You are right.
Can you contact
And,
Oprah?
Evan has this saying about normal people, right?
I know. I'm doing some stuff with. Actually, yes, I actually know how to do that. Please hold.
Yeah. Let's contact Oprah. Do you have her phone number?
No, but I know somebody who does.
Let's get it. Let's make that a takeaway in the next week. Because if you get Oprah to do something, make an announcement.
That starts to change the conversation. Because it's coming from a different voice. It's coming from a different place where they have a different relationship with that person.
Right.
And that's part of our problem as IT security people. We're not the greatest at relationships with people outside of our tribe.
Well, speak for yourself.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. My best friend is an iron worker.
Yes, but again, I'm going to call exception to the rule in this group.
Yeah, I was going to say, I got one of those too. Jesse is absolutely fucking amazing. He works for RTD. He collects John Deere tractors from the early century and can repair hit and miss engines. And flip side, he and I were the ones that collaborated on the aviation stuff. Fucking amazing on anything like electromechanical engineering. I'm just like in awe. And his farm that he has it's only 6 or 7 acres. And, he donates 40, 50 eggs every single day to people. I love him. Yeah. And he's.
You had his name on one or two of the images when you were directing mail.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I love him. He's amazing. He's part of Hillbilly Hit Squad. I mean, Brett, 82nd Airborne. He was the boxing champion in that realm, and I mean, just amazing. Yeah, he punches you to say hi. God damn it, he's got a hard punch. And then we got Froggy Dave, former Team 3, Team 5 guy. I mean, that's part of HHS. And Swede, 5'0", probably weighs about as much as one of my freaking legs. Yet you hand him a car, and like literally an hour later, he turns up with his 600 fucking cubic inch, 1200 horsepower thing. And I just tuned it a bit. I'm like, that's part of HHS, and you're right. That's a deliberate thing on my part because I want people outside of our own damn industry. All right. So remember to brainstorm with you. Hang on, what's his name? There we go, Jimmy.
Oprah. Oh.
Jimmy and
Jason.
Jimmy.
No Murray. We know who the baby daddy is.
No, Jimmy. There's somebody in the family that can get to Oprah. We'll just leave it at that.
All right, let's get to Oprah.
So
if you've got an in, it'll save us a lot of work.
That would actually be fun. You know what? I there's got to be a way of doing it. I mean, you God help us. Yeah, I do Oprah over Kardashians. Let's just put it that way.
Well, and if whoever's busy or too busy or whatever, I mean, I think we're all capable of going out and digging this thing up, digging up, her probably her personal email address, and let's contact her.
Yeah, it's on the move. Let's just put it that way. While we were doing, I was sending an email.
There you go. So yeah, I honestly think that's the path to this. It's got to become a dinner table conversation.
It does. And that's one of the things that we were trying to do, and we're still trying to do, and we'll continue to do with the S2Me tool. Right?
Yeah.
Create an information. We did it with credit scores. Create a security score for somebody.
Yeah.
And that at least helps them put it into context. And now we can draw maybe on their competitive nature. Like, everybody else is, 700. I'm a 620. Shit. That tells me I should do something. And try to, almost create the credit karma of information security. So they have a place where they can go. But, we'll see where it goes. It's going to take a lot of time, a lot of work.
I love it. That tool that you guys have put together, I think is freaking amazing because, again, it boils it down into something we understand. Our lives are ruled by our credit score. Let's be perfectly honest. Mm-hmm. So we understand the value of a number. So if we understand the value of that number, I was actually talking about this to a bunch of insurance people the other day. I'm like, look, we can boil risk down to a number that's relatable to a human number. And they're like, wow. And I'm like, yeah, and here's this and here's this. And that makes sense.
Right. And it's free. We'll always keep it free.
Right.
But I think, once you get adoption, and to your point too, Ryan, the herd mentality, right? And so if everybody's got a damn S2 score for themselves and I don't, I'm probably going to go get one, So we're trying to leverage, conversations with, insurance companies, with big associations. Give it away. I mean, even the state of North Dakota, right? We talked about the state of North Dakota. This hopefully will become part of their strategy to create, better digital citizens, right? By putting the S2Me on their government site.
Well, and I think part of it is continuing to beat the drum that the line is gone. Digital is physical, physical is digital. There's no longer a line. It's time to embrace reality for what it is. And if you think it doesn't affect you, I challenge you. Live without your phone for a day.
Please.
Try.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm done. Hey, everybody wants to get hold of me tomorrow? Yeah.
Right? I would love that.
Right. Oh, no, dude, I took the dog for a walk yesterday. About 3/4 of the way into the walk, I went, oh, I don't have my phone with me. Oh, okay. And I moved on, right?
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I love camping. We're going to get away this weekend for a week, and you always get shitty cell service wherever you're camping. So
if you're doing it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like going off-roading. It's the same thing. It's like I'm just going to take the Landy off-road for a little bit, and oh no, I have no cell signal. There's a shame.
Yeah.
That is the one upside of living in the mountains.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think, health-wise too, like we need to disconnect a little more.
Yeah, I'm not good at that. I'll be honest. Somebody hit me up today and they're like, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm like, "I'm working." I actually have my calendar is planned from 8:30 in the morning till 6 at night, then from 9 at night till 2 a.m. That is my planned calendar without any breaks. And they're like, and that's including Sunday. I get Saturday off, and they're like, "Yeah, that's not good, little buddy. You need to." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I'm good at talking about it. I'm just useless at doing it."
Yeah. Yeah. If I didn't have my wife, I would have already died. I mean, I would work all the time.
Yeah. Although, again, to me, some of it's not work. I have a ton of the stuff I'm doing with the entanglement stuff. That is just, I'm enjoying that. And the same thing with the EEG monitor and all the fun stuff with the brain. That's fun. I'm actually enjoying that. I'm pushing the barriers. I'm messing around with that stuff, and I'm enjoying it. Now you flip it around, and then somebody's asking me, "Hey, we need you to describe the methodology for pen testing." And I'm like, "Go look up p-tests," and they're like, "No, we need you to describe it." I'm like, "Fuck."
Right.
So
well, it's the same thing it's the same thing with us. I mean, when you love what you do, which I think all of us do, it's not work.
Yeah.
No, and but I have to think about. So I hate to use Evan's word here because I like to just refer to people as humans, but I have to think about the normal people. We are not normal people. Anybody watching this knows we are not normal people. Even among our own tribe, we are not normal people. And I'm okay with that. I embrace that. I've learned to love that. And I think you guys have too, right? You've learned to love yourself and
right.
You know what? Round peg, square hole. Who cares what your hole is? It's a tetrahedron, and you're too dumb to notice.
When if you hit it hard enough, you'll get it in there.
It's gonna fit exactly.
Right.
Yeah, it works.
I'll make
it's good enough.
You don't know what I'm willing to do to this egg to make it fit in the hole. But
and it's funny how people get offended sometimes when you call them normal. And normal is nothing more than just being in the number within a range of normal.
Well, some people
that's a good thing.
Abnormal as a negative, and some people, when you tell them they're normal, then sometimes interpret that as you saying you're superior. I talked to my wife about this once. I got in a lot of trouble. So I'm ADHD, and they released a study that said that ADHD people, that their brain synapses fire at a rate between 2 and 5 times faster than the average non-ADHD person. And I tongue-in-cheek joked that made me a superior human being.
Oh, ow, bad. Yeah, you got your ass handed to you, didn't you?
That was dumb.
Yeah.
So dumb. I thought it was funny. Clearly she didn't. But
shit.
Yeah, it was bad, dude. It was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I said it in a joking tone. It did not matter. It was just like, no.
I've never told my wife that I am superior to her in anything.
No. I was just saying that ADHD people, I said I was hinting at maybe this is evolution. Like if our brains are operating faster, right? And I wasn't even being serious about it. It didn't matter. Words came out wrong and she responded. But I'd have gotten punched. But I look at her as an example of my average user, my average technology consumer. Okay. And my wife is more savvy only because she has lived under my roof with me yelling about things for so many years that it's ingrained in her. Right. And I love that she's actually an advocate at her job and other things. She's like, no, we probably don't want to do that because that's not going to be, secure. Right. Don't share that spreadsheet. Call somebody instead. But it's because she lives with me and she hears this over and over. She overhears the phone calls. She overhears the presentations, But the average person, no clue, no idea that what they're doing is even wrong or why it's wrong. And the problem is when we try to explain this stuff to those people, we explain it as we understand it instead of taking time to understand where they are.
That's why I love, you guys know the XKCD comic. That's why I love XKCD, because the things explained and the common uses and the common words, that to me is just freaking amazing. I love the fact that you can take ridiculously complex subjects and explain them using basically the 1,000 most used words in the English language. To me, if you can't do that, you shouldn't honestly be stood up there having those conversations. Just leave it to somebody else. Damn, this is good. I'm sorry. I'm like 3 glasses in.
It's going to be another one of those nights.
Yeah, it kind of is.
I love it.
Yeah, this is good. I'm
out of this. I drank both of these already.
You drank both of those?
Yeah, that's right. I got another one.
He's a machine, man.
Oh, your pH balance is just no, it's just not pretty.
Yeah, I'm like the alien, right? You cut open and like the blood is acid.
Yeah, you melt the toilet when you pee. I mean, it's as simple as that, really, isn't it? That's just what it comes down to.
I don't know. Porcelain is pretty resistant to acid, so.
That is true.
So, yeah, I
Dear.
don't
All
know.
right. So, Ryan, how the hell are we going to solve this? Seriously.
Well,
What can we do to solve it?
so no joke, what
Yeah.
you just did with that email, that is how. It's how. We have to make this a mainstream conversation. You know, before COVID, I was getting some good traction with my local media. I'd actually gotten my local news station to do a story on security basics. And then COVID happened. It's that we have to meet them where they are. I don't know if the information security community needs to sponsor Lollapalooza or what we need to do, but we need to do something to reach people where they are. Because believe it or not, and you know this firsthand, both of you do, you've done this. You've met a human that didn't know, they were security unaware. 5 minutes later, after talking to you, their life operated different. They changed their behaviors.
But it's the same way the other way. To me, it's a swapping of information. Perfect example, Jesse, freaking hit and miss engine. What the hell is one of those? 5 minutes later, I'm like, okay, this shit's cool. This is really cool and amazing engineering. And to me, it's the ability to information swap and absorb. And I think it definitely works both ways. And it's that ability to talk with somebody and not talk to them.
Correct.
But one-on-one's not going to do it. We won't fix 7 billion people one-on-one.
No, and that's why we need media. We need celebrities. We need other voices outside of our tribe to start advocating.
And even with
go ahead, Evan.
Well, I was just saying, even within our tribe, we can come together so much more. Stop fighting so much. Stop thinking that your new revolutionary way is a better way than the basics are the basics, right? And so us working together more, and then, sorry, Ryan, back to your point, the media. Yeah.
Well, we need advocates, right? So I think about for example, domestic abuse, okay? There are tons of people that get involved in that topic that are not abusers and have not been abused. Yet they believe in making a change in that space. They advocate their time. They advocate their celebrity. They attend galas. They do these things. We have got to get information security at that level of safety for the community. Hey guys, listen, we're marching head on into the apocalypse if we don't straighten our shit out. We've got killer robots coming. We've got medical devices that can be easily compromised from across the parking lot. We've got all these things already today, right now, in place today, right now.
Yeah.
So we kind of need your active participation. See something, say something. I mean, there's 100 examples where we've already done this with something else. And I think we need to start doing that for this topic. We've got to demystify it. We've got to get the buy-in from whatever groups people are listening to right now to help spread that message. PTAs and senior communities and just all those organizations. I was talking to the Rotary Club before COVID, right? I was doing these Rotary Clubs. It's great. I get up at earlier than I should be awake and I go sit in a room with a bunch of old men and I teach them cyber. Right. I mean,
I did that with I've done that a bunch of times with some of the old people's homes. Had a fucking riot.
Oh, it's a blast. I love
it.
I hate getting up early. Not a morning person. Not
breath
at
of
all.
Fresh air. Yeah, breath of fresh air.
They get up, the day before they want to be awake.
Yeah, I know. Scary people. Yeah.
But I really believe it's like that. And so my ask to anyone in our community, what are you doing? Are you giving an hour of time a month to an organization to help them? Are you, what are you doing personally to contribute?
Well, I just in our chat, not that one, the Cybercrime Support Network is a place where at Security Studio, we've started working with, and Kristen Judge is the CEO there.
Yeah.
Awesome organization so far. And they're very well connected. If you look at their board, they've got some pretty important people on that board of directors, I think, supporting organizations like that in their mission.
Yeah.
that's just one, I think, of many. But if people want to go look at that, it's, cybercrimesupport.org, a great
Yeah.
place to go and spend some time and help.
Yeah, she just sold us out. Do you mind if I drop it out into the
I was gonna
tubes?
say, yeah, here.
Yeah, absolutely.
All
Yeah,
right.
I wanted us to talk about it first before I threw it out there, just so, yeah.
I love it. Rachel's right. I mean, I'm actually watching so we were accused about 5 minutes ago of being condescending. So I fought back a little bit. Yeah, I fought back a little bit, and I'm like, I don't agree with that. Whenever we have conversations, we talk with people. I do my damnness to make sure whenever we're having conversations, I never talk down, I never do anything. But then she's like, hey, you're using words like dissemination. I'm like, okay, fair comment. So it does take, we know how to talk English, plain, simple, business speak, normal human speak. And I think that's part of the other problem is I don't even want to use the word normal, because to some degree, Rachel's right. That does put us in a different category. There's got to be a way of doing it.
But it is a different category.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but
it is a different category, and it's not one is better than the other. And that's where I think people always read more into things than they are. Normal is simply a number thing. It's not condescending. It's not any better or worse.
I've told you this before. It's tribal. If you say you're abnormal, tribal instinct is kill it with fire.
To me, it's like, do you speak
maybe
French?
That's part of our problem too.
Do you speak French, German, English, or geek, or a combination of all others? And I speak English, whatever. So I speak geek. So then, how do I do geek to English translation? Maybe that's a way of looking at it. We speak geek, so now we need to speak English.
True.
Right, and that is part of our problem. Have you ever read a user manual? This tech?
Oh my God. I'm going through one now. There's one of the companies I'm helping. I got there, I'm doing some nasty stuff to their software, basically beating the crap out of it. But before I did that, I had to do the install. I read the install manual. It scared me. I mean, I'm sitting there and I'm like fucking turning this thing upside down going, the hell are you thinking?
I'm just saying, if IKEA furniture instructions are more clear than our documentation, there is a problem.
If our documentation can't be understood by us, then there's definitely a problem. Yeah, no, right? I totally get it.
And then we're the ones tasked with explaining this?
Yeah, I know.
So that's why I say we need help. We need help. We're good at what we're good at, but we're not good at, as a whole, as an industry, we are terrible.
This is why, I love the guys over at ITSP magazine, like Marco and Sean, because Marco is this amazing thinker and he is totally not in our industry. And I love it because of that. And so to me, go back to what you were saying, it isn't just getting the Jessies of this world, the engineers of this world, the metal workers. To me, I want the philosophers. I actually want the people that came out of school with those humanitarian degrees. I want some of those people. And that's who I want. I want those people in our industry going, here's how you need to be in front of people. And I think that would help us a ton.
Yeah,
I agree. And, I think my hope rather is that we as individuals, but we as also as a larger community can start making those inroads. Hey, I need your help. The house is on fire. I need your help. I can't do this alone. I don't have that experience. I don't have 25 years to catch up to where you are. So I need you to get into it with me, and I need you to help me help those.
Yeah.
These are the people we're trying to serve. You're trying to serve them too. Can we work together?
Rachel said we need a PR person. I'm like, no, we need a freaking PR company. This is more than one person's going to be able to handle.
Well, and then some, right? But I think, and this is where I'm thinking about, if we as practitioners can start to form these ideas well enough, then we should be going to our ISC squared. We should be going to our ISACA. We should be going to these organizations and saying, it's time to form partnerships with the American Association of Psychology and Psychiatry and with the, American Association of Social Workers and with these. Let's start to accelerate this conversation. Why are they not invited to our meetings?
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, I just, and
No,
again,
I can't
coming from
argue.
a place of passion, but as
Yeah.
one whose entire life, as far as work is concerned, is structured around how the hell do I solve this problem? Every single day I arrive at the same conclusion, and it's I need a bigger group. I need more people not in my industry, not in my vertical, who don't know this day to day, but do care about protecting humans, that do care about improving the quality of our world, that do care about asking vendors, did you make sure this IoT is not going to take everybody out before you put it on the market? Right? Like, hey, by the way, FTC, if you're listening, would love to talk to you about consumer safety standards when it comes to technology.
Don't even go there. We've tried. Those.
I know they're deaf as a post. They just want to put a label on the bag that says "Don't put it over your head and keep it away from babies."
No shit. Yeah, between them and the fucking who's the one that deals with the healthcare devices? What's that? The
FDA.
They're fucking worse than useless.
Well, and it's because the FDA is used to dealing with risk in the context of direct physical injury resulting from direct mechanical failure.
Do you think we spend more time telling people what they think versus listening to what they think?
Oh, 100%.
Yes. Oh, God, yeah. We are fucking terrible at that.
Yeah.
Because we did one study, I remember that one study we asked, it ended up being 1,000. And if anybody's offended, no offense intended, normal people that weren't in our industry. And we asked them a series of questions. The only open-ended question we asked them was, what can we do as a security industry to make your life better? Right? That was the only open-ended question. Then we took that word map, and that word simple was the biggest thing. We didn't massage the data. That was what the data told us. They want us to make it simple for them.
They do. Countless times. Make it work like my iPhone. Stop overcomplicating this.
Yeah. But we do. I mean, I did a due diligence call for an investment company today for a product that I'm sitting there for the first 20 minutes going, what the hell is this doing? I mean, literally for about the first 20 minutes, I'm like, what the hell is this actually what problem is this solving? Why is it doing it? What is it solving? Where's the normal 4 questions you ask? And I just couldn't get it. And I'm like, guys, and the other one that's pissing me off, really pissing me off. I was on another call yesterday, a couple of days ago, whenever it was, and somebody's like, I'm going to start a non-profit to help people. I'm like, why? Well, because I want to mentor people. Then go join the fucking mentor project, or go join one of 20 other fucking projects that are out there that need people like us. Stop going out there and blazing a trail and setting no, quit that shit. Just your name's not going to be at the top of the letterhead. Get the fuck over it and go help somebody else for a change.
Yeah, good point.
Oh, absolutely. I see it all the time.
Well, we're up against, we're at almost 2 hours, you guys.
We are. See, I knew this would be a good one.
This is a. Well,
we can do a part 2 on this too. I mean, this is a big meaty monster.
I think we need to. And I actually want to go back to the original one. What still turns over in my brain, 2 hours and 3 glasses of this thick stuff in, is, God, I mean, seriously, I feel like I've got to get some work done as well. I've been watching email come in. I'm like, fuck it.
I don't have email on right now.
Oh, I didn't, but I had to send the email to somebody to talk about the Oprah thing. And I'm like, I opened up, I'm like, fuck, more email, go away.
Right.
What was it? Oh yeah, the thing that still tweaks me is the hug versus harm, and that algorithm is just, I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, I can work it out on the algorithmic system that I have, and I can give you a bunch of numbers for it, but I don't get it because you're fucking right. Is the care doesn't come across, but I can hurt the hell out of you. Like, I can kill you. I mean, it's as simple as that. I can persuade you to take your own life digitally, but I can't.
20-year-old that killed himself. Investment balance.
Yeah.
Because his investment balance showed him to be, I don't know what it was, like $100,000 or $700,000 in debt or something like that.
Right.
So he killed himself, and the software maker was like, well, it might not have actually been an accurate representation of his account.
Yeah.
So think about that, because that's a very real thing.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's an interesting one. I want to noodle on that one. Yeah, I think we need to do a part 2 of this at some point in time.
Yeah.
What do we? Who's up next? Evan, are you up next, or
No,
is it
you
me?
are. Yep.
Yeah,
you
it's
are.
yours next.
Yeah,
Ooh,
you guys pick good topics.
some fun stuff.
Yeah.
Some fun stuff.
I learn so much every time. You know, I mean, it's funny
Same.
how many years
Same, yeah.
we've been in this industry, and it's like, shit, really? Yeah. We're doing a women in security, podcast series on the Unsecurity podcast. And we kicked it off last week. And it's going to go for a while because there's just so many good perspectives, man.
Amazing people in our industry. Yeah. My Wednesday evenings, I'm apart from last night, because it was just an absolute lunatic asylum. My Wednesday evenings, I spend on a podcast with Joanna Udu. She does this Bridges in Tech conference. It's freaking awesome. I love just hanging out with that crew. It's the same thing. I get to sit down, hang out, absorb, and listen. Back to that 2 ears and 1 mouth analogy.
Yeah. These Thursday nights are good for me, and hopefully good for the listeners. But even if we didn't have a single listener, the fact, the opportunity to sit down for 2 hours and talk with you guys,
Yeah,
I mean, it's
same
like,
thing.
Shit, that's way worth it. So
yeah, I'm with you. Totally.
Oh yeah, I love this stuff. I mean, this is great. And then hopefully the people listening, enjoy it, and we do meaningful topics for you guys. And if you don't, that's okay, because selfishly, this is just fun for me to.
And if we offended you, we're sorry, unless we're not.
Yeah. So Evan can speak for himself. You're an adult. You tuned into this knowing you're an adult. Deal with it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, exactly. And I'm like 3 or 4 glasses into a bottle of extremely good yumminess.
Hey, I gave the disclaimer at the beginning.
You're all drugged up.
Right.
The burns don't hurt as bad.
Good. I hope you are taking care of them.
The entire time, and it's now water.
Oh, jeez. I hope you are. I hope you get better.
It's all right. I learned. So I blacksmith. I don't know if you knew that about me, Chris, but I blacksmith.
I think I remember you saying something about that right at the beginning. Yeah.
Yep. So burns and me go hand in hand, and the secret is you treat them as quickly as you possibly can. And while it sucks to have the cold on it for hours on end, if I get to it soon enough and I treat it long enough, I almost always avoid any kind of major damage or anything that results in the need for antibiotics. But
same way, I cook a lot, and between cooking a lot, I also hold an explosives license. So between those two, I'm regularly sitting there with I understand. Let's put it that way.
So you need to come to now. Is that license federal?
Oh yeah, it's a federal lease. Yeah, I mean, crazy shit. I got a class 7
I'll fly
license.
you out here to blow some shit up.
Oh yeah, I can make, manufacture, transport, and blow shit up. I got pretty much for what they gave me a license for that. I'm like,
fantastic.
Love you guys. Yeah.
So I'm gonna invite you to the Redneck Olympics.
Oh God, let's not go there right now.
Please tell me that has anvil tossing. I have wanted to do anvil tossing. Have you ever seen anvil tossing videos?
I have not, but it sounds like something we can add.
You have to go look at anvil. I mean, seriously, everybody that's online now, go look at anvil tossing videos. Fucking amazing. I need to find one more anvil. I know Jesse's lent me one. Go look up anvil tossing videos. Just amazing. Just so much fucking fun to do.
I'm gonna have to look into that. I'm sure we can figure out some. Matter of fact, I have a brand new anvil sitting in the box in the shop that we could.
Sweet. And I've got the explosives to launch that thing a long way.
I love it, guys. This has been great. You've been awesome.
This is absolutely fantastic. Thank you very, very much. Everybody listening, thank you.
I hope you liked it. If you've got ideas, feel free to tweet us. We're always open to ideas of topics, so don't hesitate to tweet us.
Yeah.
What is it, Evan? At Shit Show?
Sure.
Well, no, what's the Twitter handle?
I don't remember, man. You
It's like shit show _ something, isn't it?
Yeah. There's so many things in my life. It's so complicated.
Shit show. Not shit
At
show.
security_shit.
That's it. That was it.
Yeah.
Splendid. Oh,
All right,
man.
guys. Have a good
Thank
night.
you,
I got.
everybody.
I have a meeting at it's like 6:30 or 7 tomorrow morning.
Go to bed.
If
Bye,
it's any
guys.
consolation, I have a meeting in an hour's time. Actually, 58 minutes time.
Oh shit.
Well, you
All right.
guys have fun with that.
Have a
I
good
will
one.
talk to you